everyone. We're Maren and Angela, and this is Homeschool Unrefined. Welcome to our spring and summer 2022 season. This whole season is going to be a treat for you. As some of you know, we've been creating this podcast since 2016. At that time, some of our kids were in single digits, playdates dominated, and we had this idea to create a community around keeping homeschool simple, real, and fun.
For this season, we've gone back through all 5 years of episodes to find those that have been the most loved and downloaded. We've compiled them into a list of our top 20 favorites, and we'll be counting them down for you this season. You are definitely going to want to stick around to hear which episodes made it to the top.
We're really proud of these episodes and wanted to share them because they're at the heart of what Homeschool Unrefined is all about. We wanted to go back and remind ourselves of the work we've done and the community that's been built around these ideas.
You might feel some nostalgia when you hear the old music and our old intro. There will also probably be some old promotions and some links that are no longer relevant. We've come a long way as podcasters, yet the messages in these episodes are timeless.
If you're looking for new episodes of Homeschool Unrefined, join our Patreon community. For just $5 a month, you'll always have a new episode in your podcast feed. We are continuously recording new content and love sharing our lives with you there. Consider joining for $5 a month. You will be not only nodding your head along with us every week, but you'll also find a group of amazing people, plus you'll be supporting our message. You can join us at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined. Okay, here are our most loved episodes.
Hello everyone, we're Maren and Angela, and this is Homeschool Unrefined. We created this podcast to change the conversation about homeschool. This is a place where we encourage each other to do less, be ourselves, embrace natural learning, and keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. We are longtime friends, Minnesotans, and practiced homeschool parents with our master's degree in education. We are an inclusive and non-sectarian podcast and community. We believe Black Lives Matter and affirm LGBTQ+ families. We hope this is a place where we can all learn and grow together.
This is episode 153, Permission to Cancel School This Year. We are going to get to that in a minute. First, Maren has an aha moment for us.
Yes. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, well, so I know this is something we talk about a lot, but listen, I get these aha moments all the time. So I need to just share this one.
Yeah.
My aha moment is that learning happens when we're ready to learn. And this might not seem super revolutionary. We talk about it all the time, but I was reminded again about this recently, and it was literally an aha moment for me again. And I think we all need more
That's
of
what
these,
happens.
Right.
We learn things many times throughout our lives. Yeah.
So what happened was on a Saturday morning, my youngest daughter decided to do all her math lessons for the week that I had hoped she was going to do all week. It was kind of my goal for her that she would get these done, and they didn't get done. And I always have this inner angst about that, do I make her do it? Do I take away things? Or, do I have consequences if she doesn't do it? Well, I didn't. And I was like, I'm not going to force this upon her. I think, our conversations helped me through that week, thinking, my oldest daughter is doing great in math. My two middle children who are, they're doing great too. And, I never forced them to do all this when they were, her age either. So I just I see the pattern now. I see that it works itself out usually. So, I didn't force her to do the math, and I let her do lots of other things. And we actually did lots of natural math learning that week. I felt great about it. And Saturday morning, she woke up and she's like, I really feel like I want to do these lessons. And she did them all on a Saturday morning. And I was thinking, wow, I have never woken up on a Saturday morning and decided to do math ever. And I thought that was just a testament to, how learning does not happen when we plan it always. Forcing learning is a lot less effective than choosing to learn. And she learned so much more in a joyful way on a Saturday morning.
Right. Because she was ready.
She was
and
ready
she wanted
for it.
to. She wanted to.
Exactly. Yes.
That's amazing.
And a lot of it was, she saw this lesson that we do. It's in an app called Dreambox. She looked at it and it looked a little intimidating to her. And so she closed it down. And this was the beginning of the week. She's like, I can't do this. And I told her, you know what? You don't have to do that. But I just want you to know, when we do open this app up again, I'm going to help you through it. It's not going to be, I really was like, when you're ready, I'm going to be there, and it's not going to be as scary as you think it's going to be. And it's going to be, we'll do all these fun things to learn it. And, I think it took her the week to process that too.
Yeah.
For her to decide, okay, I feel safe doing this.
Yeah.
Too. So.
Yeah. And so then did you have to help her, or at that point was it she felt like she could tackle it?
The funny thing is I did help her a little tiny bit. Okay. And then she got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I think this happens a lot with with myself too. I was talking to you about how I picked up cross country skiing this winter for the first time in a couple years. I'm so bad at it. I'm bad at it right now, but I'm so motivated to try it. And it's because nobody's forcing me to do it. There's nobody making me. There's no expectations of me doing this. There's no consequences if I don't learn it. I just really want to, and I'm working on it. So, I think it goes for adults too.
It does.
Yeah,
definitely. Yes. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Thanks. For more aha moments and other great discussions, join our Patreon. Patreon is a place where we have lots more content and a community for just $5 a month.
All right. Our topic this week is permission to cancel the school year. And so we actually had a different episode planned.
Yeah.
And we changed plans because we kind of felt like this needed to be discussed. Yeah. We felt, what's the word? I want to say moved, but that's not the right word. Convicted. We felt convicted.
I was going to say inspired, but I was like, it's a little different than inspired too, because it kind of came out of this. Well, I think for me, and I know for you too, we're watching the news and we're hearing about all the schools opening up and getting back. And we've heard, how there's still pressure for kids to get so much done this year. And we're just feeling like we really want to be a voice to let go of the pressure.
Yes. Yeah. So we want to tell you that you have permission to not do school this year. And we'll tell you why in this episode. But we just think that's really important to say because life is not normal this year. Even if you feel like your life is normal-ish or, as normal as can be, given COVID and everything, if you're on the normal end, you still have a lot of underlying stress that your kids are feeling and that you are feeling. And most of us are not feeling that normal, that normal. We're feeling like things are really upended, especially for homeschoolers. And so for you too, you have permission to not do school this year because life is very stressful.
Yes. And like we say all the time too, learning happens all the time. And so just because your kids aren't checking the things off the list that you had put on the list at the beginning of the school year, they're learning a lot. And we're going to get into all the things that we're working on and learning this year. But we do need to come into this year, especially with this attitude that so much learning is happening all the time.
Yeah, or just so many other things are taking up our brain space.
Yes.
That it's really hard to also do academic things that we think are important. Also, I felt kind of convicted because I feel like homeschoolers can feel like, well, things aren't really that different for me because I've been homeschooling for 10 years. And so I have it easy compared to all of the traditional school parents and friends. They've had to make huge changes in their life. I haven't had to make that many huge changes. And so I should still be plowing through with all of these academics.
Right.
And the truth is, you've had to make a lot of changes. You're likely not doing co-op. You're not going on field trips. You're likely staying home. And we know that homeschoolers don't just stay home.
Right.
Right? We get out into the world and we do lots of exciting things and we have friends that we see. And I know for us this year, we have done none of that. Or like very, very, very little amount of that. And so things are very different.
Right.
For us too.
Right. And even though, on the surface, everything looks the same, there's so much going on underneath that, and our kids really pick up on that. Whether or not you've talked about it or it's verbalized in any way, it's certainly, they are very aware. I mean, depending on, how much, all kids are different and they all pick up on different things and their age may play a factor in that too. But certainly like they're not unaware of the world around them.
For sure. So, and then, in addition to school, you've likely got stressful things going on in your family, from like maybe job stress or family stress or extended family stress or whatever. COVID, maybe you've had COVID, maybe somebody who has, and it's been obviously a very different year. And so we just want to acknowledge that and say that it is okay to not do anything academic this year. It really is.
Right.
And this also, like, we're definitely talking about COVID, but this applies to any stressful season.
Yes.
So
it could be, somebody in your family is sick. It could be someone in your family has lost a job or, you've had a baby. That's a big one, I think, in your family that, very common. And I think it's like, that is the learning experience is whatever that is, and, how are you taking care of yourself through those things? And, I have to say, it doesn't always have to be a super stressful situation either. It could be, for almost a year, our family, traveled and it was exciting and this amazing experience. We did so little school that year. We really did. So, but I feel like it was also an explosion of learning all year. So
yes,
I could, if I had placed any real expectations academically on my kids that year, something would have given. And we planned this trip and we put so much effort, into traveling that, I wanted to make sure that the learning was focused on all of that. And I'm so glad we did.
Right. So. Right. Definitely. And then another thing that I just wanted to say, like, we're obviously a homeschool podcast, so we have homeschool listeners, but I feel like I want to give this plea for traditional schoolers as well. And I know we don't have, any say there, and most people don't have any say, whether you're a parent or a teacher or an administrator, you likely don't have much say, but I feel similarly for them as well. So, So what are some things that we are learning besides academics this year that should take precedence?
And, and we talk about this a lot because we talk about how great it is to be homeschooling. And when there are mental and physical things that are happening to us, that we can sit and talk about them and learn about those things. So like even just surviving the pandemic emotionally and mentally could be our whole year of learning. That's what our learning is. Like, how do I emotionally handle this?
Yeah.
How do I mentally handle it?
And that I feel like is the umbrella thing that's happening as we're surviving a pandemic. I feel like there are so many things under that are also happening. But yeah, if that's all we said, you are surviving a pandemic, I guarantee you in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you are going to look back and wonder how you did it. And, we all know we're just putting one foot in front of the other and we're just doing it. Right.
Right.
But I know in 20 years, I'm going to be like, why did I force math?
Yes.
Or like so much was going on right then. Why did I force anything academic? We had so much other stuff to learn.
Absolutely.
So
true.
So I think dealing with stress. So we're all going to have stress in our lives. Good things and hard things are going to happen to us. Right. And our kids are all learning how to deal with that stress. It can be like this, worldwide stress, like this pandemic. It can be a family stress. It can be like something personal going on with you. There's lots of different kinds of stress, but right now our kids are getting the skill. They're getting real life experience and how to deal with this. And you are coming alongside them through that experience.
And how great that they are learning these very deep and important things when they're living with you. And you get to be their guide and you get to bring them through this rather than dealing it like, what if they, what if something like this happened when they were like, this could be your kids too, but like, let's say they never learn this kind of stuff. And then, they're 25 or something. And it's like, just harder. It's harder. Yeah. So like, so great that they can, learn this right here alongside you.
Right.
And you can have these long, deep conversations or however you work as a family. You can do that today.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as I don't want bad things to happen to my kids, I don't want them to feel stress.
Yeah.
But I actually know that it's going to be helpful later because when they're 25 or 30 or 35 and something stressful happens to them, they will know, oh yeah, like I've been through this before and I have some strategies and I know I'm going to make it through it.
And I talked through it. I talked through this with my parents or, like even just having conversations. I mean, I know that as a kid, I certainly went through stressful things, but I don't know that I, talked through so much of it.
No.
And I feel like this is our opportunity to do that.
Right.
Another thing is like just spending time with your family. How do you negotiate that all day? Like, it's good to learn boundaries. This is what's working, for me as a family. I can spend this much time together and then I need some alone time and, figuring out what's a good balance for you. And I mean, just spending time together as a family for fun and like, relying on each other to like, to have that, to have those relationships. It's just, that's priceless.
Yeah,
I never want to wish a pandemic on us again. I am thankful for our kids relying on each other.
Yeah.
For fun.
Yeah. I mean, my kids don't see other friends really, unless it's outside, which has been very cold. So that hasn't happened.
Exactly.
So really their siblings are their friends, their parents. I mean, our family is their social life right now.
Yeah.
In person, their in-person social life. And that is hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard. But it's also, we're learning lots of skills. Like, you know what? I want to play this game and you're it. So how can I be okay with that? How can I negotiate this with you? How can we both get what we want out of this situation? I don't know how many times I've said to my kids, like, you have to figure this out now. This is so good you're working on this now because someday this is going to be a roommate or a coworker or a partner or something, and you're going to have to work this out again. And how are you going to deal with that? So I'm so glad you're getting the practice now.
Right. And because we're living so closely together, I feel like my kids can be a little more sensitive towards each other where they can say, oh, I see this kid is like having a hard time. And so I am going to, be a little bit more gentle on this person today.
Yeah.
And that might not always happen normally because we're a little more disconnected. We're all doing different things. Some people are going off and in this season, I just think we've had a lot more conversations like that. Like, can you see this is happening? And like, what could you do to help this person? It's not your fault, but it's like, this is what's happening. And we want to like come alongside that person and like help them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
I think it's also like, I don't know about your family, but my family, we all kind of have highs and lows at different times, which I think is really helpful. We all like have moments of freak out and those moments happen at different times, which is great. So it's like, you know what?
That's great.
This person's having a hard time right now. So I'm going to pick up the slack because I know what it's like. I was there 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
And people helped me. And so I think those are such important skills that I don't want to gloss over. Also, like, you can talk about this kind of thing like in a academic sense or in a, like, here's what to do when you get stressed. But like, we are in it. We are having to practice it right now.
Yeah.
It's sink or swim. You got to practice these tactics we've been talking about.
Yes. And I do want to just asterisk this by saying it's never perfect when we work things through.
No,
I just, I can, as I was telling that, scenario, I was thinking of one kid, especially who's like digging their heels in about like being sensitive to this other person. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that's not okay, whatever. And I just think whether it's working out or not, it's the experience that's happening. And, I'm being very vague right now. Sorry, but this is the way it is. But I think there's like, these times where you're like, well, you can see what's happening, right? So, whether you get it right now or not is not the, that's not the point. The point is to like go through it, to go through it together.
Yeah. And to try and be vague and help you out, your one child might not get it right this time, but might the next time it happens, look back and go, when I reacted that one way, it didn't really work out very well. Right. Maybe I should try something different this time.
And then sometimes, it's often with more maturity and just age too. Yes. So like in a couple years, I feel like this kid is going to be like, oh yeah, I could have, done that better, or this time I'm going to do this differently.
Yes, definitely.
So I just think, we can't be like, oh, this kind of sounds like we're saying we have this like Pollyanna-ish view of like how great, this time is together, that we're all working these things out. And it's not like that. Not like that. But I do think it's valuable. Whether or not it's super easy is a different discussion, but it is highly valuable.
Right. Right. I do not want to give the impression that this is like Pollyanna at all. It is not.
Yeah.
We are stumbling through it. We're stumbling through, but we're getting lots of practice. And we're having and it's important to spend time there. I just really think it is. I think it's important. To go along with that, like caring for your mental health.
Yes.
This is something that, we talk about all the time when we talk about self-care, and we talk about it for us. And like, it's, we all know it's really important. I feel like right now it's crucial. It's not just important. It's necessary for every member of the family.
Right.
And as the parent, I feel like it's my job to make sure that they are taking care of themselves and make sure that we're talking about it. And so that's, a lot of, responsibility for me.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. That's a big thing that I want to spend time on. That's a big thing. So I feel like this is the time to do it. This is not the time to be worried about academics. It's the time to be worried about our mental health. Or worried might not be the right word, but And
then also, you have to realize how much responsibility that is that you're taking on. Yeah. And how much energy that you're taking on when you're doing that kind of stuff. And then realize that has to come from somewhere. Mm-hmm. That isn't just created out of nowhere. So like, what are you going to do less of? Math? Writing? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like there has to be something that gives. We can't just like continue to plow through, unless that's life-giving to your family and like that's working for you. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about that, but we just have to remember, like, there aren't reserves upon reserves upon reserves of this energy.
No.
And so if we're really valuing this mental health and the communication that we're learning with as our family, and we're learning boundaries, and we're learning, I don't know, all these things, we just have to remember, if we're valuing those things, like, remember, you can't do all the things that you value all the time. This is your time to do these valuable things. Mm-hmm. And then next might be, some more academics later. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's all important.
Right.
But honestly, with the mental health, when mental health is, or emotional health, all these things, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another word. But anyway, those things, when those things are like kind of the foundation, the thing that like, that your bedrock, it's a lot easier to add on academics. when that kind of stuff is.
When it's time.
Yeah. Right. I mean, but like, I think what we tend to do, and I think this is just what our society does, is like, we really focus on the academics and like, we have to do these things at this certain age, but then we forget about all the mental health and all the, physical, relational work. Yeah. That is required to do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, these are real life skills we are practicing in real time. This is not like we're not going through a curriculum and getting to the section on mental health or getting to the section on sibling relationships and having a conversation. Like this is
you have to be the one to choose it.
Yes. Yeah. This is sink or swim right now.
Right.
Nothing's more important. No academic subject is more important than this.
So true.
And I also think when someone is under this much stress, they're not going to, you might learn some stuff. You might retain some stuff, maybe, but, you're probably not going to. You're probably not going to
not
as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yep, it's so true. A couple other things quick that I feel like our kids are learning. I'm not going to say they have. None of us have arrived.
We're working through.
But I feel like we're working on how not to be bored and how to take ownership of our own interests and stuff. Like,
yeah, that's good.
I think in the past we've been like, well, we're bored. Let's sign up for these activities. And like, and that's not happening right now. So we have to take it upon ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think that's a life skill. It's a life skill.
That is a life skill.
It's going to serve them the rest of their lives. Also, exercise. Our kids are learning to find things that they like to do for exercise.
Yeah.
Instead of the thing that they got signed up for.
Gosh, you're so right about that. And that like ties into mental health too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, our kids are really like, I'm like, since you're not getting outside much, since you're not running around with friends, since you're not in that sport, we got to figure this out. Like, how are we going to do this?
Right.
We need a plan.
Absolutely. And then also and this is where some people are going to maybe shut down, but I feel like our kids are working on things that they want to work on, including Minecraft cities.
Mm-hmm.
I think my daughter has a job in Roblox.
Yeah, I think she does. My kid, my daughter told me that our two kids went to a class.
They went to a training
on how to job in Roblox.
In Roblox. Yeah.
I was like, I am so like, I've never felt more Gen X right now.
And then there's like, how can I complain about that? That's great.
Wow.
Anyway,
went to a training.
So, and that might not be our priority.
Yeah.
But it's theirs.
Yeah.
It's theirs. And they're learning to prioritize the things that are important to them. And they're working hard on them.
They signed up without our knowledge for a training. Remembered what time it was and went.
Yeah.
That is a skill.
And my daughter even like, we don't usually have screen time during that time when she's like told me the day before, she's like, I just want you to know I am working on this thing. We're going, I'm doing this training. I'm wondering if I could take that time to go do screens for an hour to do this training. I'll get all my work done. So like there was all this planning.
She had to plan ahead.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yes.
Okay. So the other part of this is if you are still doing academics, that's fine. You have permission to do academics. Just like you have permission to not do academics, you have permission to do academics, but I really think you need to ask yourself why you are doing the academics.
Yes.
Is it serving you? And if it's because you think you need to get through the material, that's not a good reason. Don't do that.
Yeah.
If it's because you're worried about where your kid is academically and you're worried that they're going to be behind, that's not a good reason.
Right.
I'll tell you, we're doing some academics and I'll explain that later, but if it's because for some other reason, you need the structure, it's a distraction, it's a good challenge. Your kid wants to do it.
I was going to say, if everybody's on board with like really wanting to get through the material, like everybody, go ahead. If that's why you want to do it. But if only you want to get through the material and nobody else does, that's harder.
Yes.
Especially now.
So you need to really be honest with yourself about that because, if you push through, you may get through the math book, but it may not be retained and you may have other natural consequences, which is, your kid is unregulated in some other area or feeling extra stress because of that or something.
Yeah, or feeling resentful towards you or not enjoying math anymore.
Yeah.
Or homeschooling even,
Yeah.
At all. So, yep, that's really good. And I think I ask myself daily. I ask myself this daily. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And if it's a good reason, I will continue. That is, but I mean, but then here's another thing. That process is also, that takes energy to think, to process through why I'm doing this and everything. So, I'm just saying, give yourself lots of time and breaks and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Through this time, especially because that does take a lot of work.
Yeah, there's a lot of decision making that's going on and evaluations, that are going on in your brain, and you're wrestling with things, and that's hard work.
Yep.
So just to tell you what we're doing, I talked about this in episode 151, which was a couple ago. We're doing some academics. I'm considering them the bare minimum. We are doing it though because my kids want structure. We need structure. They ask for it. So everything we're doing is something that they are definitely on board with and want to do. But, and this is the but, if there's anything else that comes up, like anything, we don't do it. So we definitely take a break. Somebody asks for a break, we take a break. Right. Somebody asks to switch things up, we switch things up. Someone has a mental health crisis, we're done for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe there's boredom. I mean, there's a lot of boredom.
Yes.
We take lots of breaks when there's boredom because there's so much boredom. I feel like fitting in those real life things that we talked about earlier is the priority right now. And I feel like the academics are just there as a structure, as a something to do when we're not just to just to give us a structure to our day if needed. Yeah.
I feel the same way. We have a structure and it's definitely a skeleton of our day. But it's very loose. I feel like it's just where we are right now, and it's, I don't know. I feel like the same thing. I think what I do though is at the beginning of the week, I think, and I don't even always write this down. In fact, I'm not really writing it down anymore. I think I started out this year writing stuff down and I really don't anymore. But in my head, I'm like, I want to do these things in the week. Or sometimes I'll put them on the whiteboard. I should say that. I'll say, we're going to do these things this week. And then, I don't know. We just pick out when it's the right time. We pick out one to do, or I think we could do, I think this is a good time to do math. I think this is a good time for us to do this thing. And, I have pulled in, read aloud again. And that was really getting vetoed for a long time in our family. Our kids are getting older. It wasn't working out with I don't know, their attention span and their own plans. And so we stopped for a really long time. And, read aloud is my favorite. So that was really hard for me. I have felt like we needed a little tentpole again at the beginning of the day. And we often start our day with CNN 10, some little clips of news and things like that. But I just felt like I really wanted to do some reading during this little morning time that we do. And so I pulled out a book this week and we just started reading again, short things. And I pulled out some art project kind of things that our kids could do while I read, paint by sticker books and, this is not art, but maze books. And I don't know. I just pulled out a few things and it's occupying them. Oh, kinetic sand. I pulled out kinetic sand. These are just things our kids do while I read aloud. And I don't know, it felt like it's working again, which, I thought that it was over forever.
Yeah.
I thought that read aloud time was over forever, but I kind of like that now that we're back into that. That's just like kind of a tent pole. And then people after that go off and, do some other things. Some are academic, some are not. But like I said, like at the beginning of this episode, I talked about how, my daughter, my youngest daughter, I really don't push her to do a lot of academics. And that is what she needs right now. To not be pushed. Yeah. To not be pushed. She's learning all these other things that we just talked about. Yeah. And that is occupying her complete energy. It really is. And I have another kid who really likes the academics right now. She's into it. She's loving the classes and liking the structure and needing some accountability. And so it's different for every kid too.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. It's different for every kid. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
all right.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And we hope this was helpful to you. We hope this gave you the permission that you maybe need or didn't know you needed, that it's okay to not do school this year.
Yep. And it can look like whatever it looks like for you is okay.
For sure.
Yep.
All right. We have a listener question that we are going to answer in Patreon. So you can go there for that. It'll be there right now. But I'm just going to read the question first here. And it's a little bit of a long one, but I think we need it all to kind of understand the question. It's from Ashley. How do you find rhythm in your day? I want to feel okay with doing less and just letting learning happen naturally, but I feel like public school stole the spark of love for learning from my 8-year-old who went to public school in kindergarten and first grade. How do I bring the spark back? Can I actually unschool? Like never plan anything and just go with the flow and where the love of learning takes us? Tell me it's okay if my kids have been playing Rocket Royale. Yeah, sorry. And Roblox all day, every day, because I'm spending all my time on self-care. I also don't cook unless it's easy, like going in the air fryer. Is it just a season though? It's been a year.
I get it.
So we're going to talk about that in Patreon. So let's move on to our LTWs.
All right.
Myron, what are you loving this week?
Okay. I am loving a podcast that I'm sure I have talked about before. And it's called Rough Translation.
Yeah.
And I love the podcast in general, but this last series that they've been doing is about people who do not really fit in a box. They can't check a box on, especially, like there was one person who was talking about the caucus and they're like, I'm not white. No, I'm not Hispanic. I'm none of the things. Yeah. And so, but that was like a literal one, but there's just a lot of stories, personal stories of people who just do not fit in their own culture where they're living. And it is, I don't know. It's just inspiring. They're beautiful stories, and I can also relate to every one of them. Which, you know what I mean? Like it's just I feel a connection with these people. So anyway, the first one was back in January 27th, and the episode is called "Our Boxes Ourselves."
Okay, I'm looking it up right now. Our boxes ourselves. I see that. Okay.
Yes, and then the next one is Boxing Back, and then Rewriting the Travel Guidebook with Nanjala Nyabola.
Yes.
All three of them have been so great so far, and I think there are more coming.
Okay.
And so you will love them.
So it's a series. Like they've said it's a series. Okay.
Yes,
yeah. Yes. It's a series within their podcast. Awesome.
Yeah. You would love it.
You
love it.
Are so good at finding all those like personal story news. I call them newsish.
Newsish.
They're not even news.
It's
not really news, but it's like a personal story related to the news.
Kind of not current events. Yeah. I don't know.
It's kind of like, the NPR podcast that I can't think of right now. You know, the main one.
The main NPR one.
Yeah, you know, the one that I've had for like 20 years. Okay. With Ira Glass.
Yeah. Oh, This American Life.
This American Life.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry that you all had to sit through that. Screaming at us. Okay. Yeah. This American Life. It's kind of like that, except they're shorter. Cause like I want to listen to This American Life, but the episodes are an hour and a half and I just can't commit to that. So
Yes,
I really
right.
like when you give me these suggestions for these shorter podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like rough translation is this American Life, but not America.
Okay. Yeah.
There are some American stories, but it's a lot about people around the world too.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
Interesting.
It's eye-opening and just wonderful.
Okay. I love it. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes. All right, Angela, what are you loving this week?
Okay. I'm loving a movie. I've been watching lots of movies and I'm going to talk about them on Patreon and our LTW Extra, but it's, it's award season. And for me, that means like I try and see all the nominated movies. And so I've watched a lot this weekend. I want to talk about one, Nomadland.
Okay, great. This is on my list.
Okay. You should definitely watch it.
Okay.
It's so good.
Oh, good.
It's on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, you can see it.
Nice.
And it's unique too, which I love. So it stars Frances McDormand, who is like, amazing. She's an amazing actress. Okay. And it's about her like navigating her grief. Her husband recently died. The town that she lives in Nevada, is going through like real economic struggles, and a lot of people moved out. And so she's probably 60, and she decides to did she lose her house? I don't know, but she's living in her van.
Okay.
And she's traveling around the United States, basically as a nomad, living in this van. And she's hooks up with, there's like a group of people who do this, who that's what they do. And they're nomads. And the interesting thing about it is that the people who she meets, who are also nomads, are real life people who do this.
Oh, yes.
And they're not actors. They
That's
actually do this in
amazing.
real life, right? So, a few, like, I don't know, a third of the way through the movie, I was like, pause, what? These people are amazing actors. Who is Linda May? Like, she's amazing. Why haven't I seen her before? I look it up and no, she's a real person. Like,
Wow.
So they got these real people to play themselves in the movie. And so that's who most of the people are in the movie. So it's sort of, I don't want to say it's documentary-ish, but kind of, because these real life people are in it and they have their real life stories.
Yeah.
But then Frances McDormand's character is like a fictional person who comes into that world and has her own story. So the acting is phenomenal, especially by these people who aren't actors.
That's amazing. Have any of those non-actors been nominated for?
No, well, I mean, no. The Oscar nominations aren't out yet. But I didn't see any for the Golden Globes.
Okay.
I didn't see that. So anyway, and it's directed by Chloe Zhao, who is really good too. I think it's a story I hadn't heard of before. It's an American story. Like it's definitely timely. And it gives a look into a life that I didn't know about, but it also tackles like, grief and economic crises, and it's just like, it's so good. And of course the acting is phenomenal. So I really loved it.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. Thank you.
Definitely should. Yep. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. We have a website, homeschoolunrefined.com, where you can find links and show notes for everything that we talked about. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Amanda Ginn is our content and marketing strategist. This podcast is listener supported. Join our growing community at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
We donate 10% of all Patreon income and product sales to The Conscious Kid, a Black and Brown-led organization that has been instrumental in our own evolution and in leading the way in both ideological and tangible change with their work in parenting and education through a critical race lens.
No matter how you homeschool, you are exactly who your kids need. You're doing great.